Hi guys, welcome to the first video on chemistry, GCSE and AS bonding. So today we're going to be covering ionic bonding in 5 minutes. So, what is ionic bonding? Ionic bonding is the strong electrostatic attraction between positive and negative ions. So you should know that positive ions are metals and negative ions are non-metals. So if you look at the diagram on the left, you can see that a giant ionic lattice is formed from the bonding of a positive metal ion and a negative non-metal ion. So, the bonding between the non-metal and the positive metal is called an ionic bond, and this is formed from the strong electrostatic attraction between positive and negative ions. Here in the diagram, sodium is bonded to chlorine, and this forms a giant ionic lattice with each sodium being bonded to a chlorine atom. So what is the melting point of ionic compounds? So they have a high melting point and boiling point because of the strong electrostatic attractions between oppositely charged ions. This means lots of energy is needed to overcome the strong electrostatic forces of attraction. And the differences between melting points in compounds is to do with the charges of the ions. So, sodium chloride will have a lower boiling point than magnesium oxide because you know that sodium has a +1 charge and chlorine has a -1 charge, whereas magnesium has a +2 charge and oxygen has a 2- charge. Since magnesium and oxygen both have a magnitude of 2 in the charge size, they have a higher melting point and boiling point than sodium and chlorine because 2 is bigger than 1. So, do ionic compounds conduct electricity? Yes, they do, but only when molten or in aqueous solutions. So it's really important that you know that they don't conduct electricity when solid, and this is because ions are fixed, and so they can only vibrate in a fixed position. This means they are unable to move and carry the charge, whereas when they are molten or in solution, they are able to move and so can carry the charge, and that means they can conduct electricity. Okay, and finally, the solubility of ionic compounds. They can generally dissolve in polar solvents, and that's because the water molecules are able to be attracted to ions in the lattice, and that means that they are able to break the lattice down. If you're doing GCSE, don't worry too much about this, but for AS, you need to know that the O- in water is attracted to the positive charge of the Na+ ions, and they can form 6 bonds, and you don't need to know too much detail until A level about the actual compound formed and the structure, but bear in mind that this will be coming up in the future. So yeah, anyways, that is all for today, and please let me know what other content you'd like me to cover and subscribe for more advice.